how do you, I mean, you now managing people, you running a team, like how do you nurture these ideas out of people so that they can be kind of put into a story and then put in front of a client? Like, how do you think about that piece of your work?
I work with an incredibly diverse set of people at Ragged Edge. It's something that we have really focused our attention on when it comes to hiring, not only through diversity of like gender and race, but also like of mind and like the way people work and the way people communicate, right? So really focusing on kind of like building a design space that allows people to not only be different, but to also belong in that difference. And so I think, initially we would have quite open conversations about like our home lives, what it was like growing up, being basically not white essentially, and just being really open about it around the lunch table. And some designers would come up to me afterwards asking like, oh my god, did I cross the line just because I was like really truthful about my experiences? It's insane that you really double think yourself, and you kind of like think that talking about race and talking about difference, talking about gender can be like a really dirty and exclusionary thing. I think the first thing is really just kind of like taking a beat and being like, just be yourself.
Mm.
You don't have to filter yourself. Obviously be kind and like, have tact, but I'm talking about just really normal mundane details about your personal life that come from your culture and being different. Absolutely say those things. So it starts there, giving people the confidence just to be themselves, right? And then like you kind of need to also make sure that you're allowing people who are like quieter to really just like have the time to actually speak in a meeting. So it's really just by, watching who's about to say something, who's trying to say something, and kind of maybe making space for that, or like circling back to it if it was, the conversation moved too fast. And it always does, right? Making space for those people intentionally is something that we try to do. Our directors at Ragged Edge and like me, I definitely always wanted that to be the thing. Also like work times, we have like flexible work times at Racket Edge. And so it's kind of like this level of trust that like we know that you're just going to get the work that you need to get done, because like ultimately we're a team and everyone counts on each other. But if your like life and all that stuff that happens in your life really doesn't allow you for that, then like there are ways to kind of like work around that. I would
Mm.
say discovering things like when people are most productive, like chronotypes, that's been a really interesting unlock, I would say. There are some people who love the mornings and that's when they think the best. And so by allowing them just to like go off and like do their thinking then and like keep that all clear, that's been something that I think has been really useful. I personally am like a wolf, that's what they call it, in the chronotype kind of like circle. And I kind of understood that in myself, I actually work best and I think best after like 12. So like this is why we're talking at like 4 p.m. And so just allowing for like diversity of like thought, diversity of energy levels, diversity of like backgrounds, to not only be unfiltered but also be listened to, and kind of like making sure that work kind of works towards that and allows for that.
By unlocking this extra layer of productivity and ideation and thought, you also now have the ability to speak directly to a group of people who might not have been directly communicated to by a brand in a public setting before, so which in itself is an interesting differentiator, like speaking directly to a market using a platform that's not traditionally used for it is also a fairly radical act in terms of like differentiation and standing out.
Our hearts are so ready for that. There is something that there's a yearning there to like see yourself represented that just like makes you really stop.
I think what you're expressing is that this is the ultimate thing for a brand, is when someone feel like they emotionally feel connected to, like they see
Yeah.
your ad, your thing, and they're like, that is like, that's for me. That's like
I've
a
never,
deep,
yeah, yeah.
it's
But
like
like,
deep,
especially
and
when
like
it's
you
like
connect to it.
you really connect to it when you see that that's for me, but also it's compounded when you see that's That's for me. And I've never seen that before. You
Mm,
know, when you see that, I've never seen something speak to me specifically before.
yeah.
There's like a wound there that is ready to be healed by your ad.
And if at that moment he presented you with a credit card machine, and something that you could have purchased, you would have been swiping with a
100%. I
smile
would
on
have
your
been
face.
swiping.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
think this is,
absolutely.
this is the thing. It's these brands have their vehicles for emotion. They can do this.